Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today, the fate of medieval Sudetenland hangs in the balance as DogAo, playing as the Teutons in red, gets ready to marshal his forces against Mr. Yo, playing as the Bohemians in blue. Now, while the players heard their herdables explore their immediate surroundings with very adorable geese and scouts and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP, why don't we take a look at the Civ matchup we are going to be watching today. Now, the Teutons are a brawler civilization designed to take a punch to the face. All of their units from their barracks and their stables get extra free melee armor in Castle and in Imperial. Their siege units can be upgraded to get a big +4 melee armor boost. Their towers have extra space for more units to garrison inside and therefore fire more arrows. And by the way, the same thing goes for their town centers. Take a look. 25 garrison space compared to the usual 15, which does mean 5 extra arrows if it's full of villagers. They also get murder holes and herbal medicine upgrades for free, so their units can heal super fast in castles while they're protected against melee units. Now, those very same Teutonic castles can actually be upgraded to get extra range and fire extra arrows when garrisoned by infantry, which in Age of Empires is kind of a big deal, since usually only villagers and archer units garrisoned inside a castle will add extra arrows to that castle. Now, on the field of battle, all Teutonic knights have a higher resistance to conversion, and if they're hurt, can be healed by monks from twice the distance, which is great news for their unique unit, the Teutonic Knight, a super slow but incredibly powerful, heavily armored infantry unit that, as always, I wish we get to see today. Now, to support a big, hungry Teutonic population, their farms are 40% cheaper than normal, so they can plop them down much earlier and for much, much cheaper. Let's take a look as DogAo pulls his first board, takes a tusk attack to the butt, but makes it to the town center. 1 volley, 2 volley, ungarrisoned target, and down goes the boar. Now let's take a look at the Bohemians, a civilization that pushes its players towards gunpowder units by making the chemistry upgrade available in Castle Age, which means hand cannoneers are available in Castle Age. They also have access to an upgrade that increases the speed of all gunpowder units. Now, the Bohemians are not just a one-trick hand cannoneer pony. They also have access to 2 other very powerful, unique gunpowder units. The first is the Hussite Wagon. This is an incredibly tanky, super powerful siege unit that's referred to as the Mobile Wall. Now, why is it called the Mobile Wall? Because it can actually protect units behind it from enemy projectiles by cutting the damage of these projectiles in half. Now, the second is their Haufnitzer or Howitzer. This is an upgraded version of the Bombard Cannon with more HP, better armor, higher damage, a wider blast radius, and a massive +250 attack bonus against buildings. But remember, before you get too excited, the cost of upgrading your BBCs to Haufnitzers, basically like the cost of going up to Imperial, although more expensive. Now, to provide backup for these expensive, powerful gunpowder units, the Bohemians also have a few pretty interesting bonuses. To start with, their Spearman line units deal 25% extra damage, which makes their halberdiers super ridiculously powerful in the late game. And you can completely evolve your monk line by researching an upgrade that replaces all of the gold cost of monks and monk upgrades with food, essentially turning Bohemian monks into trash units. Now, as every player knows, gunpowder units are pretty damn expensive, so to help pay for them, Bohemian University's blacksmiths do cost less wood. They get mining camp upgrades for free. Their markets work 80% faster, and their villagers are harder to raid because they benefit from 2 monk upgrades that make them both move faster and have more HP. I am, of course, referring to Fervor and Sanctity. Those are the 2 cool civilizations we are watching today. Both players getting Loom at the exact same time. Both players going up to Feudal at the exact same time off the back of the exact same villagers with 0 idle time on their TC. So we expect a, so far, pretty damn exciting situation here as they both are going to hit Feudal at the exact same time. Looks like DogAo is sending a few of these Teutonic villagers to jack more lumber. Let's take a look at the base. A good time for us to do that as the players head up. Let's zoom out a little bit. Primary gold for our Teuton, nice and secure in the back. Primary stone a little bit exposed on this big open kind of swampy plain here in the forward position of his base. Mr. Yo, by the way, is about to discover where the Teuton base is. DogAo has not even left the immediate vicinity of his base, although I expect by the time he hits Feudal, he will probably know where Mr. Yo is located. Additional resources, Mr. Yo's got a bit of stone to the back, his additional gold, both of them in the kind of middle-ish, off the beaten track forward/middle position. Forests in a bit of a triangle shape, so a decent base, decent to wall off. Not a lot of resources behind this, but a lot of empty space here for those cheaper Teutonic farms as two Bohemian militiamen move forward. Let's take a look at Mr. Yo's base real quick before those militias have a chance to do any serious damage. Primary gold off to the side, not exactly in the forward position. Primary stone very secure to the back here. Additional gold to the front, additional gold to the back. Forests also in a triangle shape, making this a bit of an easier wall off. But unlike DogAo, he's got a little bit of bamboo to the back, as he also has a relic, which DogAo also has. Okay, so bases on the whole fairly similar. One player's gold kind of exposed, one player's stone kind of exposed. Militias have done the big loop-de-loop around the Teuton base, have discovered this woodline, but DogAo, quick on his feet, has already walled it off. Has he done the same here? Of course he has, and he's also walled off the gold. So unless Mr. Yo starts mixing in range units, which of course he is, these wall-offs are going to be pretty much 100% effective against what Mr. Yo is throwing at him. Oh, Mr. Yo wants a little bit more space here. Or maybe he wanted to shove another villager in there and so deleted some palisades, rebuilt them quickly. By the way, has DogAo discovered where Mr. Yo's base is? Yeah, he's seen the tip of the iceberg here. Let's take a look. These militias, they've pretty much outlived their usefulness at this point. Archer is enough to shoo them away. Scout down here. Has Mr. Yo seen it? No, he hasn't. So he doesn't know where the scout is. And Mr. Yo looks like he's sending more and more units, 2 archers and a spearman. So he's leading DogAo into what could potentially be a deadly trap for him. Although at the moment, it's Mr. Yo whose army is very much under attack. Scout HP down about 10%. And half of the HP already gone on these men-at-arms. Militias, not men-at-arms, sorry. They are not Bulgarian. They do not automatically upgrade to men-at-arms the second he hit feudal. Skirmisher will take on some archers, and the first kill of the game going to our Teuton, who mows down that one very, very weak militiaman. The more healthy one does survive here, and let's see, will it be enough? He's leading the spearman on a chase so that his skirmisher can get as many shots off at him as possible. Fantastic maneuvering here by Mr. Yo, keeping DogAo pretty much occupied in a little bit of a loop-de-loop, as DogAo now begins walling off using this Tetris piece-shaped gold here. But he's going to discover very soon that there's a Bohemian army right on top of his head. Uh-oh, who's going to discover who? First, it looks like Mr. Yo discovers this villager, who may or may not die very quickly here. Oh, one more left tap, and down he goes. 2 kills to 1. But the one... Actually, no, never mind. I was going to say the one is a villager, but no, Mr. Yo gets both a villager and that spearman that we saw dead after that amazing little... what do we want to call it? A chase that he led him on? Is this the DogAo scout? Yeah, okay, so the DogAo scout took a bit of damage. Mr. Yo's army is still here. Not exactly anything crazy. So let's take a look at the bases. Look at DogAo. I mean, he must have seen the forest here in the forward position. I wonder why he didn't go for a V-shaped wall in as opposed to this really, really long forward wall in using a blacksmith, a barracks, an archery range, a whole bunch of houses and palisades. And now his army is here. It's kind of sandwiching Mr. Yo's army. I say kind of because if Mr. Yo wanted to, this probably... He's going to be able to one-shot this scout with his army. The surviving militia leading the pack home. No, never mind. He sacrifices himself to delay DogAo's army. And DogAo falls for it. DogAo falls for it, and now Mr. Yo is able to escape, although hasn't really escaped that far. With the hill here, it kind of looks like he's moving very slow, but we know that's not the case. In Age of Empires, the speed of a unit does not change if he goes up a hill or down a hill. One of those super cool mechanics that maybe one day we'll add to the game. I say we, obviously not me, the developers. I would love to see that mechanic. Slower up a hill, quicker down a hill, flank attack doing more damage, things like that. But I don't know, maybe I'm just a little too greedy. I want a little bit too much. And I'm sure everyone watching has their wish list of various mechanics they would love added into the game. Let's see this kind of mini battle developing here in the center between ranged units. Skirmishers on both sides, high ground going to Mr. Yo. Army count identical, civilian population identical, scouts finding each other with this relic, but not really doing much about it. The guy is going to discover a little bit more of Terra Incognita here, sees the additional gold of his opponent. He's going to perhaps if he pivots south, discover where the primary gold is. And this is an actual... Oh, it's so south. So sour. He went northeast. Had he gone south, he could have definitely lamed a little bit of this gold, at least temporarily, with all of these archer units that he's got. It looks like Mysterio's skirmishers did manage to pick off another archer here to the center of the map. And I don't know if Mysterio wants to be moving south and leading DeGao's army straight to this gold here. But we'll see if that actually ends up happening. I'm pretty sure if DeGao knew that that primary gold was there, he would have tried to attack it, especially since Mysterio's secondary gold is very exposed here, and his tertiary gold is all the way down here. So this is the only gold he has readily available. Very exposed, by the way. Whereas DeGao has his primary gold and secondary gold forming part of the wall off not too far from his settlement. Our Bohemian will be the first to Castle Age in about a minute. Let's see how much DeGao discovers. The skirmishers, rather, have a good line of sight on them, so he will see the gold in a second. Okay, he sees it. Will he go for it? This is pretty much a kill zone for him. He's going to have to do some damage or his entire army will get got by these Bohemian skirmishers. Another archer. Mysterio picking off the weaker members of the herd fantastically there. To the north, scout on scout violence. What is going on? Blue scout trying to survive. Oh, and he dies just as DeGao scout has 2 HP left. And now DeGao has to get the hell out of here. So now it's his turn to lead Mysterio on a merry chase, as Mysterio sends basically the vast majority of his army, 7 out of 8 units. This is the only unit not chasing into that army. And looks like DeGao, perhaps is he going to pivot up and right? He's going to try to set a bit of a skirmisher sandwich here. Mysterio is in Castle Age. What is he doing? Adding more and more villagers, a university. Are we going to get to see hand cannoneers? I mean, it is a very expensive proposition for Castle Age, but look at Mysterio's resources. 800 food, 600 gold. And there's chemistry. Ooh, mama. Tony the Tiger gets activated as Mysterio's entire army gets got here, and that's exactly what DeGao wanted, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. Fancy maneuvering out of both players, making the game super duper exciting. As exciting as Skirmisher Wars can be. Man, there was a there was a comment on Reddit, somebody who posted, I forget the username, that they no longer watch my channel. And one of the main reasons, or one of the reasons they don't, is because of Skirmisher Wars. As if I have any kind of control over what these players do. It's like the same kinds of people who get upset when the Viper chooses on his own, like a normal, rational, self-determining adult, not to play in the color yellow, and then I choose not to change the color, because why the hell would I change the color the Viper chose for himself? Poke in the ass, and down goes the last of the Dark Age units. And people get upset. I can't watch the Viper if he's not yellow. I can't watch Hera if he's not blue or whatever the hell. I can't watch this player if he's not X color. And I say the same thing. Take your complaints to the players themselves. But yeah, somebody mentioned in the on Reddit how they simply can't watch my channel anymore because of these Skirmisher Wars. And there we go. We've got hand cannoneers in Castle Age. Now, like the Burgundians with their Cavalier in Castle Age, it's not exactly something we see very often. Oh, well, we won't see very often. Oh, no! DeGao not paying attention. DeGao not paying attention. And right before they become elite, they get mowed down. 7 of them. Ouch. Yikes. Now, this was an amazing get. Not just because you thin out your opponent's army. That's always an amazing thing to get. But when your attack plan is hand cannoneers, skirmishers are not what you want to see your opponent go for, because skirmishers are going to, in large enough number, absolutely destroy your hand cannoneers. Remember, hand cannoneers technically still are archers. And they have that archer armor of 0, which means that these skirmishers, as I hopefully can click on one, +4 attack bonus against archers, are going to be the bane of Mysterio's existence. So it's a double whammy here to get all of those skirmishers, because now there's 7 fewer units to contest his hand cannoneers, and it looks like he's doubling down on hand cannoneers with a very aggressive forward town center. DeGao, by the way, 1 town center, great location, stone, wood, 2nd town center. I wonder why he didn't place it a little bit outside of the settlement, though. So DeGao playing a bit more defensively at the moment, whereas Mysterio, also a great location, but I don't know at the 20-minute mark if it's a great location. And he's revealed his hand cannoneers. Chemtrails fill the sky. Oh, why did that bullet land halfway through? I mean, I get that you can miss your opponent, but falling short? I don't, oh no. Oh no, the mangonel is in. Was there like a palisade here missing? It gets another kill, a villager this time. Skirmisher pops out at the wrong possible moment. Looks like DogAo is already taking a second relic. More skirmishers get flattened. And now Mr. Yo is here with a pretty serious army, but again, if DogAo just focuses on skirmishers... Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, he converts the mangonel. The mangonel fires on his former teammates, and down goes one hand cannoneer. And without that support, with the skirmishers showing up, yeah, bad news bears for these hand cannoneers. They have to get the hell out of here. 15 skirmishers on the menu. Looked like Mr. Yo was supply kept there for a supply block for a hot second, I think. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe I was just imagining things. Let's take a look at the populations. Let's take a look at the settlements as the players kind of break away from one another. We saw 1, 2, 3 town centers. University for our Teuton as well. And definitely getting ballistics. He's got a good amount of villagers on gold, Mr. Yo. Also getting his third town center up. Yeah, this is unfortunately for him. He's got to get it there because that's where his gold is. So this is where positioning of resources in the mid game kind of works for you, against you. Funny enough, it's Mr. Yo who wants vision. He's the one with mangonels. DogAo should be the one placing down outposts. Oh no, another. Oh, the monk gets gunned down, but here we go. The mangonel turns around. Now that the monk is gone, the second monk dies as well. There is a third up here. There's a fourth somewhere. Devotion by Mr. Yo. He wants to protect his units. He's got one relic. DogAo's got two. Deletes his own house here. Two monks move forward. Let's see if they get the mangonel. But before it can fire, I don't even know if it could even reach these hand cannoneers, by the way. The mangonels, remember, come with a 3 minimum range. They're not Korean mangonels with 1. So I don't know if those hand cannoneers were a little bit too close to those skirmishers. I mean, this is about best case scenario for Mr. Yo as possible. Another fantastic hit. The best case scenario because the skirmishers are focusing down the mangonel, which means these hand cannoneers had about, the run of the litter here. 13 kills. Kill count firmly in favor of our Bohemian. Not only has he killed 4 villagers, he's also killed 43 units. Outpost, very cockily placed, does go down. Looks like he's rebuilding one here. Where's the villager? There she is. Sometimes with the building indicator thingy there, it's hard to see the villager. Converts a skirmisher, does Mr. Yo, but how many monks for our Teuton? Converts 1 hand cannoneer, 2 hand cannoneer, 3 hand cannoneers. I mean, that was just absolutely disastrous for Mr. Yo, whose army count plummets. He's at a quarter of what his opponent has. He's going to lose a monk to the right. He's going to lose a villager to the left. And DogAo, sensing that this is the moment to strike. Strike while the iron is hot. 11 villagers move forward. A big fat Teutonic king of the hill castle here. Mr. Yo's obviously going to see it coming from a mile away with his outpost. But this is where those Mr. Yo's aggression might prove to be his undoing for a bit here, because he got very aggressive with the placement of these military buildings. And now all of a sudden it's our Teuton who has hand cannoneers in Castle Age, and Mr. Yo. Okay, you want to build a castle in front of me? Attack round misses. But the mangonel's getting repaired. A fantastic volley. What an absolute game of smushing here out of Mr. Yo. Pancakes galore for breakfast. Pancakes. Whose castle will go up first? There's not a lot of Bohemian villagers building this castle. And yet again, the squishiness of Castle Age hand cannoneers versus Castle Age elite skirmishers with ballistics just shoves Mr. Yo's army count down to almost nothing. But does he care? Our Bohemian is going up to Imperial. That being said, his castle is not up, stuck at 65%. Looks like he's continuing to build some infrastructure over here, keeping that one villager busy. And speaking of busy, why the wood? Why not the stone? DogAo is also going up to Imperial. Okay, so he needs wood, he needs gold, he needs to get Trebs out as his army now pivots to the southwest of this forest. Not exactly Teutoburg. I always mess up the pronunciation of that battle. But a forest nonetheless. We'll see what Dogao does with that army as it pivots more and more south into Bohemian territory. Bohemian castle is up. First order of business. F you to that one monk in particular. But Mr. Yo's castle is on the high ground. Rather, Dogao's castle is on the high ground. The problem is that Mr. Yo's castle is going to be able to produce a Treb 30 seconds ahead of his opponent. But a Treb to go where? We'll see if Dogao notices. First of all, we'll see if Mr. Yo trains a Treb. Then we'll see if Dogao notices the Treb. And then if Mr. Yo tries to move it back out of this range of Teutonic fire, we'll see if Dogao is quick enough to get that Treb. Hand cannoneers chasing away. Converted hand cannoneers. Looks like Dogao's on the high ground. Guns down 2 units. But Mangonel again. Misses. I mean, Dogao is just getting such more favorable trades here, but Mr. Yo still leads in the kill count thanks to these Mangonels. And now he's got to get the hell out of here. He is losing a lot of hand cannoneers in exchange for skirmishers, which is never what you want to be experiencing here. He's an Imperial. Where's the Treb? There's the Treb. The question is, where's it going to go? And will Dogao notice if it ungarrisons? We'll keep an eye on that as the hand cannoneers. Okay, now Dogao's just on move command, so this army is going to get wiped. Let's see it. 55. I thought it was going to be very much ahead of 60%. Let's see where it decides to go. Quiet has fallen onto the channel, and there we go. It moves immediately. Dogao does not notice. Can he attack it through a castle? I don't see why not. Mr. Yo on the high ground. So nullifying the high ground advantage, but our Teuton getting petards. Where the hell did they go? Did they go right here? Okay, buddy. Might want to explode. One player with the powerful destructive units from a distance. One with those close up in your face. Like I said, the Teuton's a brawler civilization. Not that they're unique to, petards are unique to the Teutons, but Monsieur's amassing his gunpowder army. He's got a bombard cannon. And the petards blow up the Bohemian castle. But, oh no, 117 HP. The bombard gets the Teutonic castle, and both castles went up at the same time. They lived, they loved, they traveled the world, and then hand in hand, they passed on to the next world together. Skirmishers continuing to circle. They don't see the Mangonel. No, they don't. The Mangonel doesn't see them. Oh, 2 ships passing in the night. Both of them missing opportunities to get each other's units. Mr. Yo's got a whole bunch of hand cannoneers. Now he's getting those juicy halberdiers, and he's going to need them, by the way, because our Teuton is going Paladin. All right. Now, remember, the Teutons, not exactly the lightest on their feet, with no husbandry, means that their Paladins are not going to be the fastest, but they do come with extra melee armor. Now that we're in Imperial 2 extra melee armor, not that that's going to really help against hand cannoneers that do pierce damage. Very aggressive outpost here. Villager building it gets killed. Outpost gets denied. But mission accomplished, I guess, for just a little bit of resource, a smidgen of resources. You discover that there is a castle here. I guess that's valuable information. Okay. Skirmishers nullifying the farming community there. Teutonic gold miners finding a patch of gold to get there. Oh, and the hand cannoneers, they're going to see. They're going to see that he's going Cavalier, and they're going to know to get the hell out of here. As powerful as they are with their 17 attack, they are not going to accomplish much against a 180 HP Teutonic Paladin, even one moving as slow as the Teutonic one does. And let's see the bonus here. Plus 32 becomes plus 40 because Bohemian Halberdiers do 25% more bonus damage. 20 seconds, 18 seconds. You guys know how much I love to see these transitions in real time. Let's freaking go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Who doesn't love seeing Paladins? Boom. And Dogao timing the move out perfectly. Unfortunately, the upgrades are absolutely shitty. And the halberdiers from the Bohemian with the gunpowder support absolutely destroy this force. I mean, they just now got iron casting. He needs blast furnace. 7 melee armor is not going to help against the plus 40 bonus of the halberdier. 7 pierce armor is not going to help against the 18 attack of the hand, 17 attack of the hand cannoneer. He needs mass. As sour as it is to say with a unit like the paladin, as expensive as it is to upgrade it to get it to where you want it to be, and then to have to mass it versus massing things like halberdiers, Mr. Yo is going to have a field day with this Teutonic army unless it masses more and more. He is going up to 12. What's happening here? They've discovered the Teutonic gold patch. It looks like a pile of blood. Tells us that those Teutonic villagers are no more. They have passed on to the next world. 2 coins for the ferryman. How many more Teutonic paladins? 8 are moving in. They catch 2 halberdiers. Will this be enough this time? 2 halberdiers die immediately. He still does not have blast furnace, so they are not fully upgraded just yet. And fresh contingent of halberdiers comes. Mr. Yo, stop and attack. Okay, stops, attacks. So an interesting situation here where the paladins need to avoid the halberdiers. The halberdiers need to avoid the skirmishers. The skirmishers want to get at both the halberdiers and the hand cannoneers, and the paladins just want to close on the hand cannoneers. There's yet another Bohemian castle. Mr. Yo says, I like the location of where you put your Teutonic castle, so I'm just going to take it. And our Teuton knows the castle is there for some reason, is pathing his paladins right through it. Right through the eye of the needle. Okay, discovers it, runs around. A few more paladins over here, so DogAo's going to start being very annoying with these paladins now. Run-bys galore, but Mysterio can't really... Oh my god! Did that unit just teleport away from the halberdier and save it? That was very sour for Mysterio and amazing for DogAo. I think that unit was going to die to the halberdier, and then he was teleported away. I'm going to have to look back at that. Oh man, Age of Empires, what the actual hell? Hafnitze, Wagenburg Tactics. He's got 2 bombard cannons. Wagenburg Tactics is going to make his bombard cannons move faster. Oh no, can't really move faster if you're dead. 1 goes down, 2 goes down. And all of a sudden, I mean, he's got to get build BBCs. He's got enough resources for 1. That is very sour. You invest 1,100 food, 800 gold into upgrading your bombard cannons, and then a bunch of these slow-moving Teutonic paladins show up and absolutely destroy your count. But Siege Engineers, Blast Furnace, 2 Hafnitzes on the menu for our Bohemian. If he can just hold out for another 2 or 3 minutes, he's going to have a ridiculously powerful army, Mr. Yo. Early Castle Age mangonels notwithstanding. And I don't mind this at all. He's just throwing in clumps of halberdiers. If you're going to keep trading out halberdiers for paladins, you will eventually win this game just based on resources. It looks like that gold patch to the east of the map is being contested yet again. Oh no. Our Bohemian manages to keep control of it. 3 paladins moving in. We'll keep an eye on them as they want to get this castle as well. Where are the Hafnitzes? Let's look at this beautiful unit. This poor gentleman has to push this giant cannon all on his own. I don't even know if that's physically possible. But in Age of Empires, where frail old men in sandals can carry big, giant golden relics, I guess anything's possible. Including another pancake, Mr. Yo. Just pancaking the entire army of our Teuton over and over again. But now his Hafnitzes are undefended. Uh-oh. And, yeah, they're going to die. I don't, not to put too fine a point on it, trying to use a bamboo stalk to distract a little bit from the pathing, but yeah, they're gonna die. Oh no, never mind. 1 dies. Will he get the second? It's being repaired. It's being repaired. Let's keep an eye on it, but the Teutonic paladins are still too powerful. I mean, that is a ridiculously expensive get there for DogAo. That is ridiculously expensive. Paladin continuing his path of hating on housing. He is a bourgeoisie paladin. He does not want housing for anyone. What are they called? NIMBYs? Not in my backyard, he says. Army count about 20 ahead for our Teuton. Villager count is about 10 ahead. DogAo, our Teuton, is at full 200 population. Mr. Yo barely at 155. Housed at 165 now. But he's got the powerful halberdier. Never discount that crazy Bohemian halberdier. And again, DogAo just engages into an unfavorable fight and loses a whole bunch of paladins, but he did get the Haufnitze. There's one left. It's coming down the hill. He'll be coming down the hill when he comes. Let's see him. He's going to try to take on 3 bombard cannons. First volley misses. Bombards miss as well. Siege engineers for both players. 13 range. 1 Teutonic scout. Remember, this is as good as it gets for the Teutons. They do not even have light cavalry. And more paladins moving in. More paladins going to die to these halberdiers. And how many paladins have these halberdiers killed? This is just a throw of paladins. All of a sudden, not a single Teutonic paladin, even though look at DogAo's resources. Now he's training scouts. Now remember, with the extra melee, this 65 HP scout is not exactly the worst unit. You know, when you hear, oh, they don't even have anything but scouts, you kind of, okay, you dismiss it as a raiding unit. Now, obviously against halberdiers, they're gonna melt, literally melt, like ice cream on a hot windowed car dash. What is it called? The dashboard. And he's keeping the Haufnitzes alive. He's repairing them with a whole buttload of villagers. But they're not exactly terrible with their extra melee armor. And look at that. Our Bohemian has closed in yet again. But look at his army. 18 pikemen. 1 bombard cannon. Otherwise known as halberdiers and Haufnitzes. DogAo's got 3 times the army count. And by the way, it's army count that counters Mysterio's army count. He's got 4 bombard cannons. Where, oh, where are his paladins? Why with 1,700 gold is he not training paladins? Is he trying to get Mr. Yo to spend his resources and then overrun him? Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. A dozen paladins are on the menu as he moves forward. Skirmishers trying to pick off some villagers over here to the east. So he's basically trying to get Mr. Yo to waste all of his resources fighting skirmishers. And then the second he can, he's just going to overwhelm with these dozen paladins of his. 2 more forward siege workshops from him. DogAo's gold is running low. He's got 5 villagers only. It's still more than what Mr. Yo has. Mr. Yo, having lost control of the relics, has no more relic income. But what he does have is these paladins. And where are they going? Where the hell are these paladins going? Oh, they're going to secure the gold over here. He knows if he can get Mr. Yo's gold, there's no more Haufnitzes on the menu. And holy moly, 8 bombard cannons. Haufnitze goes down. No more gunpowder for our gunpowder civilization. He is stuck on 2 light cap, 15 halberdiers. And look at the populations now. These Teutonic paladins are just gutting villagers left, right, and center. Mr. Yo's at 115. Our Teuton is at the full 200. He's literally double the size of his opponent. And Age of Empires, a pretty simple mathematics. And there you go. There's your mathematics. Wow. The pivot into paladins. I mean, I was surprised it didn't come early. And by the way, he threw a whole bunch of paladins down the shitter again, did DogAo, to get rid of those halberdiers. But I guess at the end of the day, it worked. I see 2 horses' asses here, even though they're stacked onto the same tile. Man, Age of Empires. This I don't like as a caster. As a player, love it. As a caster, hate it. But our Teuton with 50 skirmishers, 40 kills. When's the last time we ended a game with 50 skirmishers that had 40 kills? Any other unit, that would not be a great statistic, but for such a squishy, weak unit, not bad at all. And even though these halberdiers, like I said, that plus 40 bonus against cavalry is ridiculous. Yeah, Mr. Yo just never got the numbers up to where he needed them. Even though he took a lot of favorable engagement, there's a lot more dead red here than there is blue. Look at the ground, just littered with dead red bodies. But at the end of the day, I think really the situation is when you show up with paladins, and by the way, how many paladins are left here? 7 paladins are left here. And you show up with 8 bombard cannons. Your opponent has 600 gold, enough gold for 2 Haufnitzes. Yeah, is it any surprise that Mr. Yo decided to tap out? What an absolute fun game. Mr. Yo just could not get his hand cannoneer count up to a good, respectable number in Castle Age. They just kept getting, I mean, I want to say killed by the skirmishers And then what didn't die got converted by the monks. I think at some point our Teuton had more Castle Age hand cannoneers than our Bohemian with 3 or 4 to 0. But Mr. Yo just was not lucky with his hand cannoneers at all. And now that the Teutonic Paladin finally, by the way, fully upgraded, look at the stats on this guy. Just about as good as you can get without any Civ bonuses. Unfortunately, no husbandry for the Teutons. Like I said, they're not exactly a light on their feet. They're a brawler. They're the Bass-Rutten of civilization. Dang-a-da-dang-a-da-dang, you know? They get right up in your face. They break a bottle. They stab you with it. That's what the Teutons are. They're not this... I say that, of course, he's got 8 bombard cannons that are absolutely wreaking havoc on the Bohemian military. 237 skirmishers, 200 halberdiers, peak APM towards... not towards, right at the end of the game. What do you think for Mr. Yo? What, at the 10-second mark? No, look at that, the 12-minute mark. Okay. So he was a little different than his usual. Can't see the economies being too different. Yeah, a little bit over 10%. What is that, like 12, 13% difference in economy? Relic gold, basically identical. Mysterio would have had a much bigger lead if he didn't lose control of those relics during that mid-game push, or towards the end of the game push. Mid/late game push out of our Teuton. A little bit more wood, a lot more food, a little bit more gold, and a little bit less stone for our Teuton. Ultimately, it's this food that he used to train those skirmishers. Man, those skirmishers, 9 conversions out of 281 is what, 3% or so? Not great. 1 out of 399 is definitely not great. Buildings destroyed by our Teuton, 2611 only by our Bohemian. And our Bohemian, I mean, not surprising. Mr. Yo did his usual aggressive. I mean, the town center here, the castle here, the archery ranges that he tried to get down here in the center of the map. So he just tried to encroach into the center and push aggressively, but our Teuton wasn't having it. The gameplay out of DogAo in this particular matchup was fantastic. He just nullified the most powerful Castle Age unit that his opponent had, got his ass up to Imperial, not too far behind Mr. Yo, by the way, who still managed to pump out that Treb. Forget your Treb, he says. If my castle is literally kissing distance from yours, I'm just going to put petards in here and blow your castle to kingdom come. And unfortunately, in this particular game, the Sudetenland has fallen. Our Teuton has overrun it with an insane body of skirmishers, 30 scouts on the way. And even though he wasted tens after dozens, after scores of paladins in some of the most painful engagements for us as casters and observers to watch, whoever likes to see paladins die against halberdiers? It's painful to watch. Like, you know, when you watch a video of some like guy getting hit in the nuts and you're like, oh, it's entertaining, but man, oh man, does it make you cringe a little bit. That is exactly what DogAo did, but ultimately didn't really need those paladins because the skirmishers were just obliterating everything Mr. Yo had. And behind it, that Teutonic economy, 116 villagers, the perfect amount of villagers for a trash, let's say mainly trash army composition. He wasn't really going for those heavy hitting. I don't see Teutonic Knights. Besides those paladins, I don't see any other really expensive heavy hitting units beside the BBCs. And aside from 8 of them, the rest is pretty much trash. I mean, 50 skirmishers is all trash, but that is a great number to have. And Mr. Yo dips below 100, loses control, most importantly, of this gold here to the east, which I believe might be the last or second last. I thought I saw a little patch here. Maybe here? No, here. So 1,000 gold over here. What's 1,000 gold going to do at the end of the day when your opponent is already in here with 8 bombard cannons, and this is where all of your infrastructure, literally all of the Bohemian infrastructure, is right here to produce anything. There's nothing here but a castle. I don't see him producing Hussite wagons, even though he's got the wood for it. Who's kidding who? He's got the wood for it. And Hussite wagons might actually have been an interesting choice by Mr. Yo, because remember, they are mobile walls. Their Pierce armor, I think, is a 10 when fully upgraded in the elite the elite version. 110 wood, 70 gold. So a little bit, he could have maybe trained 10 Hussite wagons, could have definitely helped out here. I really wonder why Mr. Yo didn't at least add a few and park them in front of the halberdiers. I believe the way the mechanism with the Hussite wagon works is, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, it halves the damage done to the unit behind it, but it's not like the other half disappears. The Hussite wagon takes half of the damage of that projectile, but it doesn't really matter because the Hussite wagon, number one, has insane Pierce armor, and number two, has pretty chunky HP. And so that's why it's kind of called the mobile wall. It doesn't just cut the damage in half. It takes the other half onto itself. Shield Anvil style for those of you into Steven Erikson novels. But ultimately, our Bohemian is getting raided as well here. He's lost control of his gold. Mysterio knows when he's been cracked open like an egg, which is exactly what's happening here. Wave after wave after wave of Teutonic military has just inserted itself right in his very face, as the Teutons do. And with those powerful Teuton units, DogAo takes the game, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.